Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Grace if you're new here, and if you're not, it's nice to see you again. So in today's video, I will be giving you guys some sad girl winter recs. I know, it makes me want to barf even saying it, but the girls that know, and the girls that don't. So yeah, essentially today, I'm gonna be giving you some recs. If you just want to feel something, like these books will get the job done. They might even make you cry. They made me cry. All of them at some point in time. Like I said, if you guys just want to like feel something, if you're already like kind of down in the dumps and you just want to like wallow in that feeling, which is so real and you should definitely allow yourself to do, these books come highly recommended. They are the remedy. They are, well, not the remedy, but they are they'll get the job done. Yeah, let's just get into it, and I hope you guys are ready to cry. So the first book that I have is If He Had Been With Me. This is by Laura Nolan, or Nolan. The second one sounds right. This one is about childhood friends to lovers, but it's like a tragic story, and they tell you in the beginning what's gonna happen, but you'll live in Delulu land and you'll be severely disappointed. So yeah, childhood friends to lovers. They're really cute. Autumn and Finney, I hold them near and dear to my heart. I think the first time I read this was last year. I've read it another time since then, and yeah, anytime I like really think about them, I start tearing up. So it's that serious. It really is. Okay, the next book is The Song of Achilles. This one is by, who the heck is this by? Whatever. The Song of Achilles. So this one is a Greek tragedy, kind of like the first one, but not really. Just in the fact that these two are like actually fated to die. Like, I'm not spoiling anything. Oh, this novel follows Patroclus's relationship with Achilles from their initial meeting to their exploits during the Trojan War, with focus on their romantic relationship. So yeah, it's really cute, but since you know how it's gonna end, it's one of those things that's bittersweet. You want to like shake the characters because there's like this thing called I forgot what it's called. Is it like the ego's death? Something like that. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So I'm just gonna like leave it at that. It made me cry. I felt a bit empty after. Anyways, so the next one I'm going to talk about is, I think this is called the Letters of Enchantment series. So we have Divine Rivals and we have Ruthless Vows. They're both really good, but I have to say, after reading both of these, the duology, that my favorite is Divine Rivals. I just love the buildup of a romance, and I don't know, there's something about the second book where it just fell a little bit flat for me. The first one was definitely like an introduction, but then you like fall in love with the characters, and then the second one is more like a focus on the war. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely cried for both. Don't get me wrong. I cried a lot at the end of the first book, but yeah, this series, it's rivals to lovers, and then there's like magic components. I don't think it's necessarily like fantasy. Yeah, this is claimed to be enemies to lovers, but this is definitely more rivals to lovers, filled with hope and heartbreak. And actually, this could be, no, it's more rivals. Like, if you guys, I'm sure a lot of people have already read this series. I might read it again this season because this series just screams like winter, kind of even fall, not gonna lie. But yeah, highly recommend this series. And yeah, I just love a good like fantasy slash like magical type of book with like romance components. There's nothing better. Okay, so the next book is Muah. This is by Jessica George. I've talked about this one a lot. This one is lit fic. It's about a girl named Muah, aka Maddie. Is there really a plot? No, it's not. There's no real plot. We're getting to know Maddie. She has kind of a late coming of age. I don't know. I just don't think it's a late coming of age because I feel like 20s is really like the pinnacle of finding yourself. Anyways, it's just really like funny, relatable, sad, especially for people who are the eldest daughter or even just like the oldest child. I really feel like it'll resonate with you, and I've never read anything where I resonated with the book this much. So it literally has been like my favorite book of all time. You'll really like cherish this book. You'll cherish mommy mommy. You'll cherish Mame, and really just seeing her come into who she really is. So yeah, we love the growth. Okay, so the next book is, oh, I did say Darling Venom. It made me sad, but like, no, it made me sad though. Okay, fine. Taking another book out because I had a little dilemma over whether I was going to talk about it. This is Darling Venom. This is by Parker S. Huntington. Very niche book. I haven't seen much about this. It basically starts off where her and this guy, they meet on the roof. It was on Valentine's Day. Essentially, we're both going there to jump off. That's not funny. You know, they talk for a little bit, they develop a bond, and they decide that every Valentine's Day they're gonna hold each other accountable and come back there to the meeting spot just to make sure that the other hasn't, you know, like hurt themselves. But they go to the same school, so they don't talk throughout the year. And then unfortunately, I'm just gonna read exactly what's here. On the 4th year, Kellen made a decision and I was left to deal with the consequences. Just when I thought our story ended, another one began. Like, you will cry in the beginning, in the middle, in the end. Like, there's parts where it's just really heartbreaking because there's multiple characters that are going through so much. They're going through the death of a loved one or of someone who they really connected with. And there's like familial problems. There's more depth to this book than a lot of people expect, especially with kind of how the second love story starts. It's a bit unorthodox, but I don't know. Like, I usually don't like when stuff like that happens, but if you read it, I think it'll grow on you in a way that's like, oh, I can see why they connected. But there is a bit of an age gap, which I usually don't like, but yeah. The circumstances allow the age gap. Like, I was fine with the age gap in this book. Anyways, the next book that I want to talk about is Golden Girl. This is by Ellen Hilderbrand. It's essentially about a woman who gets into a car accident. She has like a whole family and everything. She's like watching over them before she makes the move to the other side. Well, not to the other side, but like, you know, to ascend or whatever you believe in. Golden Girl. I think we got multiple point of views in this book. Not sure. It's been a minute. But I know that there's a mystery element. She's finding out essentially like who did it, who did the hit and run. I don't know, it's just really emotional because obviously like we're seeing her point of view and this is what you kind of like imagine death to be like. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I would definitely recommend it. A lot of people, I feel like I don't see a lot of people my age reading Ellen Hilderbrand, but I think like a lot of her books, there's something different about it, and I always love reading lit fic from like different backgrounds and different authors. Oh my gosh, I'm saying a whole bunch of nothing right now. Next book. Talked about this countless times. This is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Woo! This one, even though we don't really love the author on the front, raw, real, magnificent. These two characters, Yasmin and Josiah Wade, I think they got divorced or they separated. I'm pretty sure they got divorced. Something really tragic happened. It's definitely over years that we get to see Yasmin get back on her feet. Yeah, we get his point of view too. Love a dual point of view. So now they're co-parenting, they have 2 kids, and they're running a business together that they started obviously when they were married. We just get to see them kind of like fall in love with each other again. Yeah, this book is just really special. It's really emotional. It felt real. Like, I don't know, you could just really see how much effort and like time Kennedy Ryan put into making these characters. But yeah, it's really good. I love the friendship in here. I love the kids in here. Well, eventually. I just love the character development, the setting, the plot, just everything. I love everything about this book. So if you haven't read this one already, you need to read it. Okay, so I have some memoirs. The first one is Crying in H Mart. This is by Michelle Zauner. So the book is an expansion of an essay of the same name that was published in the New Yorker in 2018. The memoir is about family, food, grief, and endurance. It details the effects of cancer and how Zauner finds solace in cooking her mother's food. Another one that is really good, you see how she connects, I think she's Korean American. Yes, I love when I get stuff right. So yeah, she's Korean American, and you really get to see her connect more with her culture and with her heritage, which is really like, it's so lovely to see. We get to see how Michelle grapples with the passing of her mother and with this grief that she has. I don't know, I think, what did I do? I think I listened to it. I really love listening to memoirs that are read by the authors. It was really heartfelt, relatable, and especially for people who have like immigrant parents, or I don't know, sometimes there's like a disconnect. I would highly recommend reading this. It speaks to mother-daughter relationships. It speaks to a lot of stuff, and you'd be missing out if you didn't read it. Or listen to it. So the next book that I'm gonna talk about is I'm Glad My Mother Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Loved her since iCarly. She shed so much light around her time on that show, just her experience growing up and like being an actress, in general, like how she came to be an actress, her relationship with her mother, and essentially how bad it really was for her. It was so enlightening as someone who did watch her from iCarly, did watch her as a young child. And if you have like the slightest interest in reading this book or hearing anything about her story, I highly recommend. Or even if you watched anything on Nickelodeon as a child, it's really enlightening what child actors go through. Highly recommend I'm Glad My Mother Died, and to listen to it also. The next memoir that I recommend is Just Mercy. This is by Bryan Stevenson. Had a brain fart moment there. This book it's a bit unorthodox to recommend this for a sad girl winter, but it's really enlightening, and I really think while the story is sad, there's like good parts about it, and I love recommending nonfiction for stuff like this. Just Mercy is essentially about Bryan Stevenson. He talks about his experience as a young lawyer. He was working pro bono. He starts a legal practice dedicated to defending those most desperate and in need, the poor, the wrongly condemned, and women and children trapped in the farthest reaches of our criminal justice system. It just brings to light the political climate in the late 80s, early 90s in Alabama. It's a necessary read, and this book just makes you realize like the true depths of corruption in the justice system, and really how it's not really meant for those who are poor and disenfranchised communities, because bail is high. You know, people can't pay the bail and they're probably innocent, or they committed a non-violent crime. It's just a lot of stuff that is really messed up, which this sheds light on, because it still holds true. Like the justice system, yes, it has improved, but it's still working in the way that it was meant to, which is very telling. Highly recommend that book if you haven't read already. And yeah, the next book we'll do Blue Sisters. This is by Coco Mellers. I read this a few months ago, and I really didn't know if I would like this book. I opened it and I was just like, okay, the cover looks interesting, the premise is interesting. It's a sad book. These three sisters are going through the loss. I don't remember if she was their oldest. I think she was the second youngest, and Lucky's the actual youngest. I like, a lot of these books are about loss. I'm like, ugh, slow down there. But yeah, I mean, sad. That's what. It's sad to lose somebody. You see all of the another one. You see all of the sisters. I'm like about to say the word again. You see all the sisters. I'm not trying to say grappling. They're estranged at the moment that we see them, that we meet them in the book. You see them struggling. Yeah, still struggling with the death of their sister. I don't know, as a person who has sisters, oh my gosh, it really tugs at the heartstrings. I don't even want to think about it, but I can't imagine like not having sisters, and it's such a bond. You know, it can't be replicated. Like, they go through so much together. It's not told in order, so you see their story progress. There's a lot of themes in this book. There's obviously grief, there's addiction, there's sister relationships, stuff like that. I don't know, it really comes together at the end. It was really good. There's a lot of heartache in this though. The only thing I didn't really like is this is kind of a spoiler, but fair warning, I didn't like the relationship of Bonnie and her trainer. I didn't like how it developed into a romantic relationship, and if you've read this, Please let me know your thoughts down below, because I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about this, but from what I've seen, a lot of people haven't remarked on it. I just found it weird because she did meet him when she was like 13 or 14, and I think he was like 20 something. There was nothing romantic when she was younger on his side, or at least I don't know anymore, because I definitely do think it just shouldn't have been turned into a romantic relationship. I think he should have been more of like a brother, but that's all I'll say. Irrespective of that element, I definitely really loved the book. The next book that I'm going to recommend to you guys is If Beale Street Could Talk. This one is by James Baldwin. Yeah, so this book is a love story set in Harlem in the early 1970s. It explores the many forms of racism that Baldwin saw in American culture. The plot points reflect the period's concern with housing equality and the beginning of mass incarceration. And what else did it say? Oh, it's shaped by Baldwin's personal experiences. So yeah, obviously 1970s, not great for Black people. We see Tish and Fonnie, their childhood friends. They grew up together, and you know, they fall in love, have a child fairly young. I think she's still 19 when she has the child. They are looking to move out, you know, build their own family, but of course they are discriminated against in like the housing process, in finding jobs. Like they really are going through it. I forgot, I'm like trying to separate the film from the book. Essentially, like, Fonnie gets charged for a crime that he didn't commit, and now he's in jail, and Tish is still pregnant. Oh my god! You get to see how it's not unfair prosecution, but you just get to see how, like, in the 70s, or probably earlier than that and after that, the misuse of power that cops had, still have that. It's just something that, as a Black person, you don't even want to imagine happening to you, but it's still, it feels close, like it could. I don't know, there's just a lot to grapple with, but I just really love the love story in it. That, what is it? Oh my gosh, when it's persevered through this. Definitely one of my favorites from James Baldwin. The next book that I want to talk about is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is by V.E. Schwab. So this one is about Addie LaRue. She prayed to the gods after dark. She ends up making a deal where she now lives forever. Nobody remembers her. It's really, oh my gosh, like it breaks my heart, because I can't even imagine like living a life and nobody remembers you. Like, that's crazy. Like, her parents don't remember her, her siblings, everyone she met did not remember her. 300 years later, someone randomly says to her, I remember you. When you get to that part in the book, I know a lot of people say this is a slow burn. It is a slow burn, but it is worth it. When you get to that part of the book, it really, oh my gosh, it made me cry, because the weight of those words after living a life where you're not remembered. She does make a mark on the world, but like it's in a different way. If you read it, you'll find out. The ending, I did love the ending. I understand why it needed to be that. Yes. The only criticism I have of this book, which got introduced after the fact, but those 300 years and she only visited European countries. I'm pretty sure she didn't really, I think she went to, did she go to the US? Yeah, obviously she goes to the US. I feel like V.E. Schwab could have done more with this. That's my only criticism. Like, if someone lives forever or lives for 300 years, obviously she experiences new things, but we don't only see her in new cultures. Like, we don't see her, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even touch the continent of Africa, any part of Asia, like stuff like that. I just think a lot more could have been done with this. So that was the only disappointing thing. But other than that, like, just focused on her story. Really good. Made me cry multiple times. And yeah, I just loved it. What else? You stay right there. The last book I would recommend is Tuesdays with Morrie. Oh, this is another memoir. Forgot, I should have included it in the other section. Anyways, I've been talking for so long, it feels like a tongue twister. Tuesdays with Morrie is a 1997 memoir by Mitch Albom about his visits to his former college professor, Morrie Schwartz, as Schwartz was dying from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. They both worked on this story together, which is actually like really, really heartbreaking. obviously there's so much to learn from a person who's lived so long, and that type of like intergenerational discussion, I just love stories like that. So yeah, that's another one that I want to get a physical copy for, just so I could like, you know, really meditate on all the things I learned in that book. But yeah, that's another sad book I would recommend. I've talked myself silly. I have gotten through all the books. It's a hefty amount of books that I recommend for you guys, but there's something in here for everyone, I think. And I hope that it really resonates with you. I hope they make you tear up. I hope they make you cry, and ultimately make you feel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more recommendation videos like this that are like kind of niche, definitely let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I'll get to it. Who knows, if it's intriguing enough. You'll definitely be seeing more videos from me in the new year. Am I lying? Maybe. Oh my gosh, can I speak? Whenever it comes to winter for you guys, whenever you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed these recommendations. It could be a sad girl summer, sad girl winter recommendations, whatever you prefer. Maybe I should put that, just sad girl recommendations. No, I'm still gonna put winter because it's winter where I am. People over here, make sure you follow me on my Bookstagram, and I'll see you in the next one shortly. Okay, thank you guys, love you. All right, bye.